Marvel vs. Capcom 2 versus Street Fighter 4. Which fighting game was more impactful? This is your boy Rexon Max, and we're gonna figure it out. Starting with MVC2. MVC2 was released in 2000 after 5 successful tag fighters came before it, and the game was loved from the jump. With over 56 characters, it became one of the most iconic 2D fighting games of all time. One of the reasons for this was the epic character roster filled with fan favorites. It was a frantic 3-on-3 tag game with gameplay unlike anything in any other fighting game. MVC2 could be summed up as a Street Fighter to the extreme and has lasting appeal that so many other fighting games could ever hope to achieve. This game was so popular that it's one of only 2 games to be a main game at EVO for a decade. So many people, you can love it or hate it, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was a groundbreaking 2D fighting game that introduced some of the most unique and enjoyable gameplay mechanics known to man to this day. Still one of the most fun games ever created, and many people say it's one of the top 5 fighting games, if not the top fighting game of all time. Now we're moving on to Street Fighter 4, which is the holy grail for the 09er. Street Fighter 4 was the longest awaited sequel to Capcom's main franchise, a 2D fighting game that fans have been waiting for since 1999. The game saved the FGC from the so-called Dark Ages and kicked off the FGC to what we know it as now. Street Fighter 4 ushered in a new era of fighting games. Even though many people would tell you that the genre wasn't nowhere near dead before Street Fighter 4, you can't deny that this game is kind of the one that kind of put fighting games into that mainstream gaming universe. Where fighting games are in esports today, with all this money and stuff coming in, traveling the world and stuff like that, you got Street Fighter 4 to thank for that. Now looking back in history, what game is more impactful for the FGC? I'd have to go with Street Fighter 4. When we go back and we look at MVC2, when MVC2 released, fighting games was at a point where it was really thriving already. MVC2 had 5 games that came before it that set the foundation for it to take off to the next level. With Street Fighter 2 releasing back in the day in 1991, it was basically the Street Fighter 4 of its time. So it basically set the fighting game franchise off on an explosion to take over like it did. So MVC2 basically has Street Fighter 2 and its 5 previous games, tag fighter games that came before it. But when Street Fighter 4 came out, Capcom hadn't truly released a Street Fighter game since 1999, and it was, people call it the Dark Ages for a reason, because Capcom has basically always steered the direction of the FGC, and it hadn't released anything for a while. So when Street Fighter 4 came out and it was that successful, it really took fighting games to a whole new level. The FGC has Street Fighter 4 to thank for where it is right now. So when it came into the FGC, I'd have to say it was way more impactful than MVC2. Even though MVC2 was a fantastic game, I have to give it to Street Fighter 4. But that's just something I wanted to discuss. It's your boy Rexon Max. Peace out.